Hey guys, this is Sanju from Build to Made, and today I'm back with a brand new project. Ever had that moment when you've looked at your rusty two-wheeled, flimsy, ready-made cart and thought, I can do better? Well, you're not alone. Imagine a cart that's not just a rolling grill station, but also a foodie's best friend, equipped with everything from propane tanks to utensils. And when it's not grilling season, you can use it as a repotting station or tool storage, all for under a Benjamin. Sorry, this was my kids' play money. Now you can go to the store and buy a cart like I did for $100. But let's be honest, it's like the rusty night of grilling, and it only has 2 wheels. So here's the deal, folks. We're gonna DIY this thing, and it's way easier than you think. First, we need some basic supplies. Check the description below for the full shopping list. Common lumber, specifically southern yellow pine, is wallet friendly and readily available. Now don't be confused by the lumber lingo. A 2x4 or 2x6 is the nominal size. In reality, a 2x4 is 1.5 by 3.5 inches. Most of the time, these planks are 8 feet in length, which is handy if you're driving a car like I do. Now on to the battle plan. We're gonna slice a 2x6 in half. What's nice about this cart is that it'll be 24 inches in width, so measurements are easy to remember. I built my first cart a while back with a circular saw. This time I reached for my portable sliding compound miter saw powered by newly released high-capacity batteries, and I connected my shop back to minimize dust. Tubing from a car accessory was modified to fit into the dust port. Sometimes you start diving into a project and forget things. For example, when you're making cuts on a longboard, you miss an opportunity to use a roller for support. It prevents lumber from caving in the middle of a cut to prevent injury. I'm not gonna lie guys, I'm always learning things when working with my hands. While we're talking about mistakes, I failed to properly measure the board. I assumed it was 8 feet exactly, so I cut a length of 4 feet. It turns out the board is slightly longer. You'll have to trim off a bit if this is the case. Now cut half dog ears at each end for both of these boards. Along the width, mark 2 3/4. Use a speed square to draw a 45-degree angle. Then set your miter saw to 45 degrees to make the cuts. It's relatively effortless with a miter saw and safer when compared to using a circular saw. Next, cut another 2x6. We'll need 3 equal pieces measured at 21 inches, and move on to cutting your 2x4s following the cut list. One reason why I like to woodwork is that it's therapeutic. The scent of freshly cut wood always reminds me of my earliest childhood memories visiting the lumber aisle with my dad. It's something that I'll never forget, and hopefully a memory I can share with my son one day. I want to equip this cart with a handle on both ends using a 1 1/4 inch dowel rod. My first build used a beefy 2-inch rod that was 3 times the price. The slightly thinner rod is just as effective. To insert the dowel rod, we'll need to make a hole. A hole saw can be used to measure 3 inches from the edge of the half dog-eared 2x6s we cut earlier. I like to reach for my drill versus an impact because I can better control the speed and is designed to steadily cut a hole. It's finally time to assemble by gluing and securing the 21-inch 2x6s at equal intervals, leaving enough room for the handles. Over the last few years, I've accumulated a variety of extra long F-style clamps that come in handy. The clamps are used until the glue settles. We're going to use 2.5-inch lag bolts to fasten the joints minus the googly eyes my son misplaced. A Forstner bit matching the head size of the bolt will be used to drill a small hole so that the head sits flush with the wood. You can also pre-drill the hole so the wood doesn't split. With the top of the frame built, let's move on to the legs. We're just going to use 2x4s that I previously cut. Again, we're going to use the same method with the Forstner bit and pre-drilling to fasten lag bolts. Glue is optional. We're going to build 2 sets of legs and then attach them to the top of the frame. You'll see here in a bit how I use clamps to temporarily hold onto the legs while I screw the lags. To stabilize the legs, we added a 2x4 on each end. time to insert the dowel rod, and I ran into some issues here. First, the dowel rod was slightly bigger than the hole saw of the same size. I didn't have this issue with the 2-inch dowel rod, which meant hammering down the rod with a soft mallet. I wrestled with it, and because it was a tight squeeze, I had to get creative with aligning the rod on the other end. But at last, it worked. And this should pretty much wrap up the card. A few finishing steps remain, but what do you guys think so far? There are a variety of options to create a solid surface on the top or bottom of the card. Furring strips are affordable without adding a whole lot of weight to the card. You can paint it or stain it for protection, but I kinda like the natural look. For my first build, I decided to use a pattern of 1x4 and 1x2 furring strips cut to 24 inches in length, fastened with brad nails. This time I used 1x2 furring strips secured with narrow crown staples. I made the mistake of not replacing my battery, which meant hammering down some of the staples. It wasn't perfect, but a lesson I learned. I found these inexpensive 3-inch locking wheels that were screwed on to add mobility. An orbital sander or sanding sponge can be used to touch up any rough areas. And I think this card is finally ready. I honestly didn't realize how versatile this card could be at the start of this project. You can move it from your patio to your garage and it'll still be useful. Well guys, that's a wrap. If you like this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Until next time, talk to you guys soon.